What's up? It's Stephanie from Tye-Dye. Today I am going to talk to you guys about the difference between two of the different crab species that we sell here. Who doesn't love crabs? So today we're going to talk about the Ecuadorian hermit crab and then the purple pincher hermit crab. And this Ecuadorian one's got a hold of my finger at the moment, so there we go. So I'm just gonna kind of talk about the difference between the two because there is actually quite a bit of difference, and you can see one of them from the start is one of them is more active than the other. So if I let this guy go, he's just gonna go crazy and run, as for this guy's just hanging out. So as you can see, the Ecuadorian hermit crab, which is the active one, they actually say they're about 50% more active than the purple pinchers. And I would believe that just by you guys seeing this right here. The Ecuadorian hermit crab comes from the Pacific coast. So they're all along the Pacific coast. These guys hang out near the water. They like to hang out where there's high tide just by what they feed off of. So these guys like to eat dead fish and seaweed. And I guess that location is a good spot. Your purple pinchers, these guys come from the Caribbean. These guys also are scavengers and like to just eat plants and dead fish. But the thing that I thought was crazy with the purple pinchers is these guys will actually eat oak leaves and tree bark because of the tannins in there. And these guys actually need the tannins in their diet to help keep their color. The big thing with the Ecuadorian one, so on their coloring, so as you can see, it's kind of like a tannish gray color. These guys, with their coloring, when they molt, a lot of times if they have a very like dull color, it's like washed out, what that means is that they don't have enough keratin in their diet and they need some more, which will actually brighten up their colors. A lot of times these guys will be like a bright yellow or an orange. This color, they're not washed out, he's just a very gray color. Another big difference with them is the Ecuadorian eyeballs are more elongated versus the purple pincher, which I can't get him to come out. They have round eyes. So if you're holding them side by side, you can kind of see their difference in eyes. Also, one of the other big differences is you can see that the purple pincher has one big purple claw, as to where these guys have two same exact colors as the rest of their body, and there's not one that's larger than the other. There's another interesting fact that I thought was cool about the Ecuadorian is these guys actually make noise. These guys will chirp and make squealing noises when they're in a tank with another one. A lot of times they say that if you hear like, if one climbs on top of the other one, they'll squeal at each other, and that's just like how they communicate. They say that these guys are actually more communal. They actually do best in a colony, like in a group with the rest of their same species. Versus these guys, it says it doesn't really matter either way. They can be solitaire or in a group. If these guys are not in a group, they're just not as, they say they just don't eat as much and not as happy. So make sure you get yourself a lot of Ecuadorians to keep together. The other thing that I thought was interesting is the Ecuadorians actually don't change shells very often versus the purple pinchers, they like to change their shell more frequently. And a lot of that has to do with the shape of their abdomen. So these guys have a flatter abdomen, which also means that their shell shape is different. So these guys have a more slotted shell where their abdomen, since it's flat, can go in, where these guys are a little more round on their opening of their shells. Your purple pincher crabs are actually going to get larger than your Ecuadorian crabs. So if you want one that's gonna get really big, that would be where you'd go with your purple pincher. If you want one that's gonna stay small, that's really active, that's where you'll go with your Ecuadorian. The purple pincher's lifespan is actually a lot longer than the Ecuadorian. So in captivity, the purple pinchers have been known to live up to 70 years in captivity. No, in the wild, sorry. In the wild, they've been known to live up to 70 years. In captivity, they've been known to live up to 20 years. So as you can see, captivity, they don't live nearly as long, which is kind of crazy because usually we can give them, everything they need, but they live longer in the wild and up to 70 years, which is insane. These guys, I couldn't find any research done exactly on their their lifespan in the wild. But in captivity, these guys only live about 12 years. So they live a lot less than the purple pinchers. Maybe it's because they're daredevils and don't stop moving and they just keep going and going and going. So maybe that's why. As you can see, he just doesn't stop. If he went into his shell, I was going to show you, there's a really cool thing that also different. So if you were to pick up 2 different crabs and they were to stay in, the Ecuadorian hermit crab, his 2 left legs, actually when they go into the shell, they will cross over their left pincher, and they use that as like their door to close themselves in. Versus these guys that just have their one big pincher to block the door, so there's nothing there. They don't cross over their legs. All right, so I think we are going to do a hermit crab race with them real quick between the 2 different species. I think we obviously know who's going to win. And I think to name them today, I think we should name this one Stella, because Stella likes to sleep all the time. No? Okay, we'll name this one Stella. Stella doesn't run, but we're gonna name this one Stella. All right, so I switched out our purple pincher hermit crab with a bigger one that was a little more active. So we're going to try this again and see, and I'm gonna try not to scare the purple pincher since they're a little more shy. But this crazy Stella crab is on the go. Stella's trying to run away. Sounds about right. All right, so we're gonna do a little race. We're gonna see if they make it to Heather and see what happens. We're gonna give purple pincher a second to come out. All right, you ready, Stella? On your mark, get set, go. Hey friend, what's up? Hey, you wanna come out and play? Here I go. Good morning, Stella.